I still can't believe that I get to live this life. On my 16th birthday, my dad got me my first ticket to go and watch West Ham. And then fast forward 12 years, I'm sat there filming and Mark Noble's to my left feeding me a pig in blanket for a Christmas special. I kind of know Declan Rice.
Yeah.
And it's like, how? Like, I'm still this 16-year-old, 14-year-old kid at Upton Park.
Yeah.
Like, they're my idols, they're my heroes.
Yeah.
And I get to sit in the office and present a show with Carlton Cole and James Collins and
Yeah.
Spudham when they come in. What is going on here?
Yeah, man. No, I'm joking.
I got Saudi money doing Vegas.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I'm gone. I'm gone.
When I try to give my opinions, I try to give my opinions that I fully feel.
Not bad, I'd say, to be fair.
See, I agree with Timbsy. We're meant to be mates.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tea with Timbsy. And I'm honoured to say that today's guest is a very, very special one. Stand-up comedian, presenter, and the king of podcasts, star of JaackMate's Happy Hour. It's JaackMaate, or Jack. It's Jack.
Stand-up comedian. I'm going to get rinsed on Twitter now.
Yeah, but you are, though.
I've done
Or
it-
you've done it.
Done it once, yeah, put it in my bio.
Was that good, though? Like, did you enjoy it?
I've never, ever been as nervous for anything in my life.
I was about to ask that. Okay, right, but before we do,
Yeah.
welcome to the show.
Mate, pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here. I've
Thank
seen
you
a
so
few of the
much.
apps. I love what you're all about. You're looking very dapper as always. You do just always look dapper.
Because I try really hard.
Whereas I don't. Like, look at my hair, I've got tufties,
Yeah.
like not bothered.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you've got the relaxed, rolled out of bed sort of talent look.
that's offensive.
Yeah. I know. How have you been?
Very well, thank you, mate.
Yeah?
I'm a little bit annoyed that you haven't got a vanilla latte in.
Yeah, he said before, because right, I always ask the guests on this show, I was like, before you come on, what's your favourite hot drink? So I'll get it for you. Hopefully it's a tea, if not, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
And Jack said a vanilla latte. Because he thought I meant just what's your favourite drink to have ever.
Because you said, what's your favourite drink?
Yeah, but yeah, it was miscommunication there.
So on this show, do you get the guests the drinks they ask for?
For the most part, yeah.
So why have I got this?
Because I draw the line at vanilla latte.
Or you draw the line at Jack, mate.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's not Laura Woods. Fuck him.
No, shit, green tea, just lovely, normal order. First things first, you are, a host. You're the JaackMate's Happy Hour man.
Yeah.
Do you do guest features often?
As in go on other people's pods? Not really.
I'm honoured.
Just got a bit bored of. Sorry, mate.
A bit bored of what?
Just doing them. So.
Oh, because
Thank you for having me
No,
on. It's a pleasure.
yeah, thank you. Is it genuinely you don't do this a lot at all?
I don't know why I don't do them. I just think because I always talk about myself on my pod anyway. I don't know how interesting I'm going to be for anyone else.
No, but I think that's why though. That's
Yeah.
why you'd be sort of interested. That's why I want you on anyway.
Right. Yeah. Well, hopefully I've got some stories.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But no, I do. I get asked a fair bit, but I don't tend to do them unless there's someone I kind of know, and I know it's going to be chilled. Because
Yeah.
I think you've probably had it before. You've been doing it for a while now. But people, and I don't necessarily think like this, but some people, if you don't know who the interviewer is, you don't know what they're going to clip out and how they're going to.
Yeah, and I think how comfortable to be as well.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like this is just, as I said before, it's just a chat anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought, because you're asked all the time, I'm guessing, to be a guest on people's shows. Do you sort of have any sort of criteria that needs to exist for you to kind of agree or not agree to it?
Just kind of if I know them, if I know what they're about,
Okay.
if they're a decent host. Like I met you because I've known about you for years.
Yeah.
We're in the same circles and that.
Cheers. That's good.
But I met you, I think, last summer.
It was at the boxing, wasn't it?
Yeah, Eddie Hearn's back garden.
Eddie Hearn's back garden with llamas.
Was it llamas?
Yeah, didn't you see the llamas?
Maybe I did, but I just blocked them out.
It was, where was it? There was like, there's one bit of fence, and then you just look and it's all alpaca or whatever.
I was going to say, was it definitely a llama or was it an alpaca?
Yeah,
you need to get it right,
Yeah,
mate. You need to get it
All right, David Attenborough.
But yeah, I met you there and we got on. So yeah, sit and have a little chat with a vanilla latte.
Nice,
or
yeah.
not.
A bit, well, yeah. Literally, it's called everyday tea. I didn't realise you could get that.
Right, yeah, it
'Cause
sounds
it's
like
not-
bottom of the barrel stuff. That.
Not even English breakfast, it's everyday tea for an everyday man. So, yeah, but obviously, yeah, that was where we met, and obviously I'd known about you for a long time as well. But it was mostly through the YouTube stuff first. I knew you did the podcast,
Right.
but it was through the YouTube burns and that sort of your funny hot takes, as the Americans say.
Yeah, yeah.
Which you sort of stopped doing now.
Yeah, stopped it the last couple of years.
Consciously, has that been a conscious decision to...
Yeah, I weren't enjoying it for the last 2 years I was doing it, sort of thing. So it was like...
Did you feel bad?
No, I didn't really feel bad, because I always thought, like... So in the first few years, when I first started doing it, I'd just call... Like, you can bleep this, but I'd call people cunts just to get the views in.
Yeah.
Right? And then somebody said to me that it came across really fake when I was moaning about someone that I didn't actually care about. But like, so there'd be like a big YouTuber. So for example, I did the Zoella Advent Calendar video.
Yeah.
And that was what blew up.
I remember that, and I did enjoy that though.
I enjoyed it too, right?
Yeah.
And it's one that I look back on fondly.
Yeah.
But for example, because that sort of changed the game for me, I was going to quit literally the upload before that, and then that happened. But and I can tell you about that if you want, because it's quite interesting. But I uploaded that, and then like when views get a bit shit again later on down the line, I think, oh, what's Zoella up to? Oh, let's do another video about her. Okay. And it's just, I think one, it's unfair because the calendar video worked because it was just a funny concept. It wrote itself really.
Yeah.
And then when you're actively searching for faults in people, it makes you a worse person as well. So
yeah, was it you just found less joy in, like it came less naturally to you, I guess, those ideas and that sort of targets, I guess.
Yeah,
it's not really targets.
Exactly, yeah.
Your topics.
I guess it kind of then, where do you draw the line between comedy and bullying? And that's and as you get older, you mellow out as well. So it's like I didn't really care about that. I remember I'd sit in my room and I'd sit there, I'd go, right guys, today we're going to be talking about Zoella. Oh, she's done this, done that. Turn off the camera. I'd just sit there and be like, I couldn't even tell you what I'd just spoken about in the last 20 minutes. Because looking down at my script, she's got a book out. Oh, that's shit, isn't it? And then I just thought like, what am I doing? So.
Well, it's quite, it shows obviously a bit of maturing, I guess. But also, maybe, I think you've spoken to loads of comedians, like obviously Rob Brydon recently, which is great, but Ricky Gervais, and especially with like Ricky, for example, who I know he's a hero of yours, hero of mine as well, I love him, who's very conscious of the why of comedy rather than just, I'm funny, which is great. But has that sort of had an effect on you speaking to someone like him who's so in the know in terms of like the philosophy of why you're doing comedy?
That's bang on, to be fair. I kind of lost the why after a while.
Yeah.
And it was just, the why started being more views driven, financially driven, rather than actually have a passion for it. So that's why I said I can look back at the calendar video and still find it funny to this day, because it was a mental concept, wasn't it? Half an advent calendar for 50 quid. Like, it writes itself. So, yeah, I think speaking to people like that, and then, like, people have heard this story a few times, I'm sure, but I think it's quite important in the context. Like, when I first did the interview with Ricky Gervais, that was like a dream come true for me and a real defining moment. And it went really well. And I remember I uploaded it, and the first comment was, yeah, this is good, but Ollie White's got some new T-shirts out that you haven't spoke about. And I thought, fuck me. What can I? I've done my dream video, and you want me to slag off Ollie White's merch again. So that was when I kind of knew, right, I have to slowly fizzle this out. And I knew I couldn't just do it overnight, because that audience is there for a certain thing. If I stop it, they'll just run away.
Do you feel like you've done that now?
I think so. I think I've had, I recently went on a trip with Cal Freezy and Burnt Chip on a brand trip, and they both said to me when we was out one night that I've had one of the biggest kind of, not resurgence, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but the kind of like switch up of how people in our space see me and view me.
You're a bit like a villain. Or not villain, but you know what I mean? Like that
anti-YouTuber.
The anti-hero of YouTube,
right.
the UK YouTube.
Yeah, or just a cunt.
Yeah, I can leave that in, actually. It's my show. But exactly, to someone who actually, I mean, a lot of the content you put out now is like 99% very positive and funny. And you get like really insightful guests, and obviously you and Steve are great at what you do anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm guessing you've found quite a lot of joy in that.
Definitely. Like, even when I went back to, when I was doing college like 10 years ago, I studied interview techniques. Like, that's really, that's really what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do comedy, and I wanted to do interviewing. And I remember I looked back at one of the books that I wrote when I was at college. It said I wanted to have my own chat show. And my podcast is a little bit like, it's more chat show than podcast in a way. Like, I don't know how you define it, but yeah, I guess that's how I see it. And having people like Knoxville and stuff come on as part of a press junket now, that's the same. Like he'll be coming to my show and then doing Graham Norton's and stuff like that. So I'm really proud of it, and I feel way more comfortable just being me in that space than trying to be Jackmate.
So yeah, your, I guess, transition to what was effectively, was that like full-time YouTube?
Yeah.
To now, would you say you're mostly full-time podcast?
100%.
Like literally 100%?
Yeah, all I do now really, because I barely do the main channel, I've done one video in the last 12 months.
Wow.
So I do, the podcast is my main thing, and then I just do my presenting bits on the side. So obviously do bits for West Ham and 888 Poker and stuff like that.
Nice.
So yeah, the podcast is my bread and butter, and if it wasn't for the podcast, I wouldn't be on YouTube anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you happy with that sort of balance now?
Oh, I love it. I love it. So the only video I've done recently on my main channel is
The Boris one?
Yeah.
Which was great.
Yeah, we just got the idea on the Tuesday and we filmed it on the Thursday. It's
great.
And then it was up. Yeah, we just, for anyone who hasn't seen it, me and my friend Alfie, we just got 100 people to dress up like Boris Johnson, and we went and had a party outside Downing Street, and it hit every newspaper in the country. And so I
Topical.
Very topical. So that was kind of like taking the piss in an old style Jackmate way, but hitting the right target, I found. That's probably why it did all right.
If you are gonna do, YouTube whenever you kind of feel like it, is that the sort of thing you're gonna try and strike, like those slightly more topical, funny videos rather than forcing a kind of
100%.
a format or anything like that?
Yeah. Like there's like, you probably know, like there's brands out there like VPN brands and stuff that are ready to chuck like decent money at me just for making
Surfshark. I use Surfshark all the time.
But there's constant brands that are like, just make a video at home, and we'll put this little ad read in the middle. And it's like, luckily, like financially, I'm a bit sounder than I was a few years ago, so I can afford to say no. But that really, to me, when I'm just on my own and I think about it, that tells me the passion for those videos isn't there anymore. Because why don't I just go and secure the bag and upload that video? It'd be a piece of bits.
Yeah, that's something I've battled with quite a lot. I think probably a lot of people do struggle with that trying to get that balance of not being a sellout. And it's not even, I mean, fair play is everyone's decision. If you want to get the money, get the money. Yeah. But for me, it's almost like, I'm scared of what people are going to think of me, which I guess I shouldn't be.
Nah, but it's your job, isn't it? It's your...
Yeah, but it's also like, because I don't want to, because then as soon as I feel like I'm being a sellout, they're going to catch on, and then they're going to call me a sellout, and then I know I'm a sellout, sort of thing. But then I know that there are some that I would do and that I'm happier to do, and others that I don't really.
That's the thing. As long as you cherry pick the right brands.
Yeah.
Like, I know we joke about it, but I have actually done Surfshark, and when I was away on that trip that I mentioned, I did actually use Surfshark.
Yeah.
So even though I probably don't use them all the time, I do use them, and then I kind of like look back at when I've done Raid Shadow Legends. Yeah. I've never played Raid Shadow Legends. Right? Just haven't. So
I don't think anyone does. Surely. So many of the people I follow and watch Raid Shadow, honestly, best thing since Fortnite, whilst they're playing Fortnite.
But if you use my code, you can get the new Elder Dragon and 15 silver. I don't know what that means.
All I know is that's £2,000 in the pocket.
So there is an element of like, which ones do you take and which ones do you not? And I'm very, I mean, it's such a good position now, and I'm so thankful because I make my money through the podcast, through 888 Poker, and I love poker, and through West Ham. And that's all I really need to do. They're my threads.
But that's great, though, the fact that, I mean, I'm guessing that's the dream for a lot of people, especially even for me. Like, I would love to have to even consider brand stuff because you're sweet with your own product that you make. How long did that take for you? Because obviously everyone, especially more eyes and more views and more listens to your podcast all the time. So people's first entry point into it is, oh, it's cool. There's a back catalogue, but they don't obviously see the journey. Yeah. Was it I'm guessing it was quite a big effort on your part?
I always have this sort of soundbite that I always go to, but I can't explain it any other way because this is just real. Like, I did YouTube pretty much. I was way more consistent on YouTube back in the day when I needed it than where I'm at now. Yeah. But I did YouTube for 7 years before I made a penny. I don't mean that literally. I mean, I'm probably made £100 here, maybe £100 6 months down the line, but nothing to live on. Yeah, nothing to live on. And I remember I made £100 and I paid my mum like 70 of it to live at home. So it was like, I was pretty much earning anything, nothing. But I did it for 7 years before it ever became a viable option. And like I was saying, I said at the start, I was uploading and I had my original podcast back in the day. It's called the JaackMaate podcast. I did it with my friend Tom Norris. And we had a few decent guests on. Like we had Eddie Hearn on, and we had Jimmy Conrad, who's obviously a great guest. And I remember I was sat in the pub, uploaded the Jimmy episode, and I love Jimmy. I'm sure you do as well. Like, I think he's great. But the numbers were dead, and that was after maybe 6 or 7 uploads. Where I'd basically worked out. I was living in my uncle's box room at his house, which wasn't the nicest place to live.
It doesn't sound.
Yeah. He's got a few issues and whatnot. So I had the little box room. I appreciate that he took me in. But so I was living there, and I was uploading. I said to Fiona, my partner, who I'd just met at the time, I was like, right, I need to upload twice a week, and they need to get 50k views on each one because the ad revenue will be 600. That'll pay my rent and a little bit of money.
Okay.
So I was consistent, uploading, and then the views started to trickle off because I was just doing the same thing over and over again. And I was sat in the pub, and it was November, and I was like, I said to my mates, I can't do it anymore. I'm going to go back to Bella Italia or do something like that. And I said, I've got this one video, and it was the Zoella Advent Calendar video. And I went, I've got this, but I'm worried because I don't know the laws behind. Like, I'm slagging off a product.
Yeah, it's like defamation as well. Like.
Yeah. And then, and it was almost like a comedy skit, whereas back in the day, I used to be really set on everything has to be the same. I have to do it in the same place. It has to be a series.
Yeah.
And that was very different. It was in a different location and all that. And they said, they watched it and they were in bits. And my mates don't find me funny. So I was like, I'll take that.
Yeah.
And they told me to upload it, and I was too nervous. And then I had a few more jars, and then I did it 9 p.m. Like, if you look at the upload time, I think it says like 10 p.m. or something.
Perfect for children.
And I clicked on it. I uploaded it, and then next day I went back on it, and I looked, and I think it had 200k views. And back then, I think people were more inclined to subscribe now, because we live in this TikTok age. You just swipe, see a bit of content you like.
No click through for subscription.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Back then, it was like loads of people subscribed, and I went from something like 300k subscribers to like 800k in a week. And
That's
it like
bonkers.
changed the game. My granddad came round to where I was living at my uncle's, and I put the live subscriber count on my computer as like the wallpaper, and we just sat there and watched it go up.
Mad.
It was nuts.
That's so good. So it was effectively like a Hail Mary of a video, like last ditch of...
And I didn't even think it was that. I just thought it's just going to be another upload that's going to bomb.
Oh, it's just another tick in a box, basically,
Yeah, and it went... So I don't know if I'm like romanticising it, going, oh, that was my last ever video, but I can tell you now, mentally, I was not in the game anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I was ready to just go back to Bella Italia.
Yeah. So you were working at Bella Italia before?
Yeah, I was working there while I was doing YouTube, so people would come in and Jackmate would serve them, and I could see in their eye, they were like, YouTube's not going how you want it to.
You're going, there's some extra spit on that margarita there, you mug.
On my first shift, I brought over a little pot of cream to this guy. It was like part of his dessert, and I thought it was like solid, like ice cream or something, and I went, there you go, and it just went all over his coat. And I thought, right, I went bright red, went in the back, forgot about it, and I thought, that's fine, that will stay within the confines of that wall. And then as soon as I got home, I saw a tweet, Jackmate just threw cream over my dad. I was like, I've got to get out of here ASAP, because I don't know who's watching.
That is mad.
Yeah.
Wow. So with your video, so that Zoella one was like the start of your, I guess that phase of YouTube for you, which I think a lot of people know you for.
Yeah.
Not the majority of people anymore, but a lot of people do back from the old days. Of those sorts of videos, has there ever been a video or like a take on someone that you've like regretted in the past? Because as you said before, that the line of comedy and bullying, is there anyone that you kind of think like, oh, maybe I overstepped the mark a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. I think especially when I was in my... So nothing in the last 2 years, because I really meticulously pick what I'll go for, or just not upload. But back in the day when I was just hungry for views, hungry for clips, I remember I used to slag off the YouTube boxing. And really that was from a place of envy and jealousy, because I see all the other YouTube lads and ladies, they go to these events and they look like they're having a whale of a time. And I remember watching KSI and Zoella, and I grew up watching them too. And when I watched the press conference and JJ said something about Joe taking medication or whatever, like you could tell he was just like, it's a press conference, you're meant
the moment,
Well, I jumped on it and was like, I can't believe he's just said that, put the camera on. I just felt like such an idiot, because I was like, really, I'd quite like to be a part of what they're doing. Like, and then by the time the next fight had come around, which was KSI Logan 1, I'd fully just retracted it and was
supported it.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know what I'm going on about. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just moaning it. Like, KSI is the worst! ! And stuff. And like, no disrespect to I'm Alex, because he's one of my friends, and he started the podcast with him, and I owe him a lot for that. But really, it was around that time as well. And so I was friends with this guy, or making podcasts with this guy, whose whole shtick was he had a series called We Need to Stop. So it'd be like a cookie cutter template. Let's put that name in. We Need to Stop. So then I was kind of sucked into that a bit, and he was blowing up at the time. I remember seeing his ad revenue on his social blade. I thought, fucking hell, KSI is a prick. Like, let's get the pen out, start right. But then it's mad because I never had any distaste for JJ. I never had any distaste for Zoella or anything. So they're ones I wouldn't say I regret them because. I'm not that arse. I don't lose sleep over it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But yeah, I was probably just didn't think it through.
Yeah, like jumped the gun a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that's also like I wasn't doing YouTube per se at that point. I was obviously working at Copper, but I wasn't doing it. But from a consumer kind of standpoint, it seemed like that was also the sort of climate it was in as well. It was still a bit fiery. Now I feel like KSI and Logan Paul have a drink together. Like they love each other. But I feel like almost everyone's transcended that and just gone past it, and no one really cares anymore. So everyone try and do your best, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it was quite nice, like a bit more cooperative and a bit more.
That was the commentary days, wasn't it? It was just commentary videos were big back then.
Yeah.
Like even like H3 was doing it.
Yeah.
Keemstar, I know he still dabbles in that, and he's more of a news channel. But back then, that kind of stuff was blowing up. So yeah, it was definitely I'm not going to excuse my content for just that was the time, but it was way more fitting of the time.
Yeah.
So,
do you remember? You mentioned those channels. Do you remember Kassem G?
Yeah, I loved
Kassem
G.
G.
California on.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was really good.
Yeah.
I love those public ones as well.
Mate. He was probably him or Crab Sticks. Do you remember Crab Sticks?
I don't remember Crab Sticks.
You remember Crab Sticks? Yeah. Yeah.
What was that?
He was just like this British vlogger. So you remember like Charlie Is So Cool, like?
Yes.
And Alex Day and stuff like that. He was part of that crew. But he was way more comedy than them guys. So he'd do like character comedies and stuff. And he ended up going on like BBC Three and like different sitcoms and stuff. And he was brilliant. But Kassem was unreal. Yeah. That was quite edgy humour as well.
Yeah,
some of the stuff he used
Come
to
on,
get some of the stuff he used to get away with was pretty bizarre.
Yeah, and then there was like the Sam Pepper days, and that was a bit like, oh god.
Yeah, I'm sure I've done a few videos on Sam Pepper. Going back to what you were saying though about like this is an example of why it's weird because you mentioned the drink, the KSI Logan thing. I would fucking love to do a video on that, right? Because
there's you still have that bit in your brain which like latches onto things which you know you can take the piss out of it. As great it is, it's also completely hilarious.
Yeah, I'm like, get your bag, like do it, like that's fine. I understand why you're doing it. But what I love most is that you see people like, I don't know, like, and these are all people I like, but like people like Calix or Mini Minter or Ethan, and they're doing honest reviews on it or whatever. And it's like, how honest is this going to be? Because this is your best mate.
Yeah, exactly. You're in a group with them. You used to live with the guy.
Yeah, so I love them, and I think old Jackmate would make a little. I'd like to do a little bit of a sketch about it, like, or I'd do like a trying prime honest or something, but I just can't be arsed.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're fine now. You're in your bag, so it doesn't matter, innit? Yeah. So yeah, you've transitioned from that YouTube thing to now pretty much Spotify podcaster, which is, it's the biggest podcast in the UK. You're not gloating here, just stating the fact.
Look, I know I fucking am gloating.
Yeah.
Last year, I think we were the second most listened to podcast in the UK, just behind Joe Rogan.
That is, well, maybe number one now, because Joe Rogan's been attempted kind of cancelled.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? It's a bit weird. But no, yeah,
amazing,
I think we were one of the first shows they signed in the UK as an exclusive.
As an exclusive, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a few more now, like obviously the fellas, like Freezy and Chip, and there's quite a few more sort of through the door now. But
there's a few more that could get, exclusive deals. I'll happily sell my soul to the devil. Or not the devil, Spotify. It's not lovely, isn't it? So firstly, congrats.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
And as you said, obviously, that's a lot of hard work. When you signed the deal, did you actually sign anything? Electronic signature.
Yeah, DocuSign.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Takes the romance out of it, doesn't it?
Yeah. I wanted to be there with my arm around like the CEO of Spotify.
like you just signed.
Yeah.
Before you signed, were you hesitant in any way?
Oh, mate, yeah, 100%.
Really?
100%, yeah. It was, I'll be completely honest, the only reason I signed was because I saw the figure. Like that's
Really?
It was because everything I've always done, this might sound a bit big-headed, people can take it how they want, but I really struggled to have a boss. Like when I worked at Bella, like it sounds dickish, I know, but I just couldn't, like they'd go, come in at this time, and the reason I actually left is because me and the boss man had a bit of an argument, and he wanted me to come in, but Brazil were playing Germany in the World Cup. You know, the 7-1 game, that one. So he wanted me to come in, but I was watching that. So it was like, I'm just terrible at being told what to do. So when Spotify came in and were like, oh, we want you to take that. And I loved seeing the full eps on YouTube, the thumbnails and that, like all of that. Like when they said we're going to take them off and put it on there, I was like, what is the benefit here? Like, what is the benefit for the consumer? I don't know. Because I thought all it was doing was limiting people watching it and then just putting it on there. But I can honestly say it's the best thing I ever did.
Really?
Yeah, and like I reckon now, even though it'd be hard to go back on YouTube if they drop me, but I'm happy to keep it more a clips-based thing and a full audio-based thing.
I mean, you still bang views on it anyway.
It's pretty mad, mate.
Yeah.
It's pretty mad.
I also feel like that probably comes with, obviously you've got your like formula that you keep to per episode and stuff, but it must be so liberating for you to not to have to care about YouTube and still have content to upload.
Yeah.
Rather than it being the opposite where you really care and you're almost forcing stuff to try and keep to a quota.
100%.
It must be so nice for you to just...
That's nail on the head, That's nail on the head, yeah. And Spotify are great because they never ever limit what I say. Like, and I can say some stupid shit sometimes and push the boundaries a bit too far.
Yeah.
And they literally will not have a say on it at all. Like, if anything, it'll be the network that I'm signed to that will try and, because they're the ones that will get sued if I say anything liable or whatever. Yeah. But Spotify, they're just like, we want you to do you. And
so effectively, the agreement is just like, it's now only on our platform.
Yeah.
In full version.
Yeah.
Just do what you want.
Almost. Yeah, pretty much. And the reason why I probably wouldn't go back to YouTube is because they have pushed me out to a much, much larger audience. So when we signed to them, I was like, I said, like, the money's great, but what actually are you offering?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Is there still growth here rather than just a pay package?
Yeah,
basically?
exactly.
Yeah.
And you know how, like, the younger audience as well, not to just, like, put them all in the same bracket, but I think a lot of them are more visual than listening. As I've got older, I like to just listen, but I think the kids like to actually see it. And I thought we were just going to alienate all of them. But Spotify have offered me the opportunity to put the full visuals
the
on
video
there
as well,
and stuff
I know
like that.
and you have done that with some of them,
We did it on a one-off special, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more hesitant for sort of other reasons.
Okay.
But when we did it, when we moved over, and also they help us with talent now. They help us book talent.
Oh,
so
amazing.
So that was a big tick for
That's
me.
huge
tick. So far they've helped us get Russell Howard, Johnny Knoxville,
amazing,
and Rob Brydon and a few others.
So good.
And we were talking about this off camera, but it's so difficult to be in this line of work and be like DMing everyone. Hi,
It
me
really
again.
is, yeah.
Can you come on my podcast, please?
Hi, I know you saw my last message and didn't respond, but it's but obviously you can't force anyone to do anything because it's just they're doing it out of their own goodwill.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, you've done this. Everyone so far has just been lovely,
Right.
Just accepted and just done it.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to come across as not beg because I'm effectively begging, but just I don't want to be a pain in the arse to anyone.
I know, and it's such like a 2022 thing, isn't it? Like, hi, you remember the, we must meet up for coffee. It's like, I'm never going to meet you for coffee.
Yeah.
Now it's, can you come on my podcast?
It's
I'm
like,
someone else with a podcast.
Yeah, it's true. You know what's actually mad? I can't believe I just remember this. I got offered to do your podcast. Weirdly, obviously I'm not a celebrity, so I don't know why. But I did this thing with Amazon. I don't know if you have a deal with Amazon or any sort of connection with Amazon, but I did some work with Amazon Prime before Christmas.
Right.
And then they said, off the back of it, by the way, we can put you forward for 2 podcasts. And then it was like a BBC Sounds one or whatever. And they said, Jackmate's happy. I was like, that's weird. Like, I know him. He wouldn't want me on his show.
No, it's not that. But I didn't know anything. I don't think I knew about that.
Exactly. But then I was like, I don't think he would have. So I didn't know where that came from, but that was bizarre. So I said, like, I mean, if they're up for it, then yeah. But I don't think they would use an agency that Amazon Prime used to
What was it
get
for?
me on.
What was she doing?
So the actual thing for Amazon Prime was like presenting, like for like Black Friday stuff.
Right.
So I was doing like Q&As with Patrice Evra and stuff.
Oh, right, fair.
Which is
fair.
great, but then
Yeah.
like on top of that, it was just an agreement to just do that work. But then after that, I think they were like, well, we can do these things for you, so that would be great.
Oh, fair.
I didn't realise.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's not me forcing me on a show, by the way. Like I'm fine. It's all good. It's all good. Thank you.
If you came on mine, I would get you a vanilla latte.
Yeah. I wouldn't ask for one. So. But yeah, so that, I mean, have you noticed since Spotify, has that exploded?
Yeah. That's. I think literally maybe just because we were the first one through the door in the UK. We had Liam Payne on, and they put a banner on their homepage. So whenever anyone went to Spotify, the numbers that month went bang. And then did the same with Tommy Innit, the Minecraft YouTuber, and he has got a cult, to be honest, of.
He's like Mr. Beast, but UK. He is. I didn't realise how big he was.
His numbers are mental, mate.
And then you look at him and you're going, that's just Tommy.
Yeah.
To be fair, Tommy, innit?
yeah.
literally
What a
him.
great name.
Yeah.
So Spotify sort of plastered that all over their platforms and
Right.
went mad from there.
I mean, you've done 6 seasons now.
Yeah.
Do you have like a window or a number that? Because I'm still trying to figure this out.
Look at Stevie in the background going, nope. No. What we do, we just keep going until we have to have a break for some reason. So,
Okay, yeah.
But like, I think we were doing like series 3 and then COVID hit. And we was like, we may as well come back with series 4.
Yeah.
But I think one of the series was probably like 6 weeks where we just came back for a little while. And what was that? Oh, if I fire someone? If I get rid of a co-host, then usually that signifies a new era.
Yeah.
I have a bit of a thing online where people sort of take the piss out of me. But I've never fired anyone.
Okay. Explicitly.
Not in layman's terms. It was me, Stevie, and I'm Alex.
Yeah.
We were doing the YouTube drama show. That's how Happy Hour started. And then me and Alex started not to see eye to eye about certain things. We're cool now, like we'll hang out now. But so we kind of went separate ways on that. And then I got my friend Jordan in, who I actually don't speak to anymore. And it was like, I think it was just one of those ones where not everything has to be put online. And there's not, I have spoken about it, but mainly it was, you know when you move in with someone, like a mate, and you
It's
just...
different, mate.
Yeah.
To just being friends with them. If you're spending and working with someone, it just changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And because we were clashing at home, but then we had to go and work, and it's so awkward when you drive to London and you're like not really chatting, and it's quite awkward, and you're like, we're not getting on anymore, and then, hi guys, so welcome to Happy Hour. What's your favourite sandwich? You can't do it. You can't.
Yeah, it's like you have to put on a brave face to go to it, which shouldn't be the case. You should just be free to.
Yeah, which is what
enjoy
me
it.
and Stevie have always had.
Yeah,
We've been
nice.
mates for like 10 plus years now. And
Amazing.
like if we've got something to say to each other and get it out in the open, we'll just go out for a drink, get a bit tipsy, just put it all out there, and then the next day be like, oh, well, we sorted that out.
Yeah.
Let's move on. You know what I mean? So
Booze solves the problem. There you go. Yeah.
That's the message I want to be portraying.
Exactly.
Drink more. Have you got an issue? Drink more.
It's all right. I say when I do the YouTube stuff, I do like, no, it's not made for kids, so it's fine.
Right, okay, yeah, fair.
That's why you can swear a bit as well.
Right.
It's nice.
Shit.
So, is there anything? I mean, you've just like detailed there, I guess, a little bit where there are things behind the scenes that not a lot of people see or would realise. But is there anything in particular with making a very high level kind of successful podcast that people just wouldn't realise or give you credit for? Or
I mean, there is. I can't sit here and pretend like it's like really hard work, because I see my dad, well, I know that my dad wakes up at like 4 a.m. every morning, go to a 15-hour shift some days in a factory or whatever, whatever it may be. So I can't claim that it's hard work. But I guess to answer your question, like the stuff that people don't give credit for is I do a really good job of like, I think, of like playing down how much research goes into it.
Yeah.
So I research the shit out of people, really.
Which is
and
great,
like,
yeah.
Like, so for this, do you, like, how do you have your question? Did you just have it literally like
no,
a chat?
I as in, it's not like I want to know where you were born and
Right,
stuff.
yeah.
But I have a list of questions that first come to mind.
Right.
That even when I'm looking up like prospective guests.
Yeah.
Just enough that I feel like I can cover all bases, because I still want the conversation to be like supernatural and stuff, rather than there's so many more things that obviously I would like to ask you, but equally like why kind of ruin like a nice anecdote or a nice topic of conversation just because I want to get 5-6 more different things in.
Right.
So I just get it to a level where I'm happy.
Yeah.
rather than just kind of overdo it a little
Yeah.
bit. But I don't know, like with you, I mean, it works for you though, right?
I think yours is a lot more chilled, and
Yeah.
yours is like a Sunday viewing sort
Yeah.
of thing. Like, and I really like that element of it. Whereas ours is quite like Lawrence McKenna called me a radio DJ once, right? And like I don't know if he meant it as a bit bitey, but I quite like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I quite like. I really do go into a different mode. Like I am me. I am Jack when I do it.
Of course,
But
yeah.
I'm like broadcaster Jack, so it's a bit different. Whereas here I feel like I'm just genuinely me, just
Yeah.
chilled. Whereas I'm the same as you. Well, no, I'm not, because I plan like every little bit. But I'm the same
Wow.
in terms of like topics, like the big topics. I know I want to get them, and
Yeah.
I'll work backwards from there. So
Okay.
like when we book Johnny Knoxville, I'm like, well, obviously the ball's going to be a clip, the most painful bit's going to be
Yeah.
a clip, and then you work backwards, as most YouTubers do with anything now. Thumbnail first, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But yeah, I have pages and pages and pages and pages for each guest. Like,
And you have that in front of you.
yeah, and Stevie has it. We'll go on Google Docs, and then when we're talking, I'll be highlighting bits for Stevie to say like, you next, like this bit, flashing it up and stuff.
And is that why you don't want it visual as well? Is that why?
Nah, because literally I am not the best YouTuber. I have never been a very good YouTuber. But when it comes to podcasts, I really do think this is my forte. Like I think a lot of people say like, oh, how much do you have to cut out? We very rarely, like it's usually start to finish. Like,
Amazing, yeah.
The only thing is like sometimes when the guest is answering a question, I'm not fully zoned because I'm thinking, how do I make that go to the next one?
That's always, yeah. So do you have like almost a script or a run of play that you feel like you need to keep to for
Yeah.
you to be happy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because ours is quite linear as well. So we'll have a guest on, and I'll always say, let's bring it back to the start. Like
Start with the £5.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then finish up with like meaning of life and what they've got coming up and stuff.
Okay.
But sometimes, obviously, there has to be an element of letting the conversation flow naturally. So if
sure.
it does go off on a tangent, and just by chance they answer the questions that I've got coming up, I'll have to remember that when I'm then going through it and skip to the next and stuff like that. So I'm constantly thinking. Again, it's not hard work.
Yeah.
But I'd rather be here than where
But there's an art to it.
yeah, and I'm so switched on. When on the drive home from London, Fee will drive us, and I'll just sit there. I'll just be quiet because we record 2 or 3 in a go.
Yeah.
6 hours of constantly talking, constantly thinking. It's just like
draining,
an adrenaline dump as well.
Yeah.
I just want to just sit there. So, yeah, I think people think that we don't research our guests and stuff and that because we ask obvious things, but sometimes we're doing that for the listener, so to speak.
For sure. And I think as well, the guest always appreciates that, or for the most part appreciates that. It's like the Hot Ones, which I think is just one of the best like YouTube interview series as well.
Yeah.
It's so well researched.
Yeah.
And every guest always, without fail, it's like, you've asked a question, I'm so impressed.
Yeah, like how
Which
do
I
you
think
know
is great.
that? Yeah.
Because then you just unearth stuff that you never would if you didn't.
Yeah.
So from having like quite a kind of strict script to kind of keep to, how did you find, because you've done a bit of presenting with West Ham, how did you find that, which is, I'm guessing anyway, obviously because it's my job, it's far stricter and there's usually like a time kind of limit to how much time you have and
I really
lines
struggled.
to deliver.
I really struggled. Like, this is what I was saying. I'm not a great YouTuber. I'm not a great presenter. I'm a podcaster. You're a great presenter. Like, I really struggled. I fluked it. It was like a couple of years ago. I got an email from. I've done bits and bobs, but nothing real serious. And then Sport Bible were like, "Can you do this series called The Social?"
Yeah.
So instantly, I'm like, "Right, who's turned it down? You've turned it down. Someone else has done it. They've gone down the list and gone, right, we'll get it." And I rocked up, and it was 6 or 8 episodes interviewing footballers, branded bits of content.
Which is great.
Yeah, mate, I loved it. And then I got there, and they went, "Oh, have you used AutoCue before?" And I went, "Yeah." And then they went,
It's always the case.
yeah, and
just
then
say yes.
And well, they said, "Oh, how familiar are you with Talkback?" And I was like, "I don't know what that is." Right? So, but obviously, it's
With
when the director's
in-ear,
speaking to you in the ear, and.
Which is fucking hard, by the way.
Oh, mate, it was so hard. It was so hard. And it's a name drop, but I was sat there with Gaza, and I couldn't understand what he was saying anyway. He's Geordie, right? and he's been through a lot. Let's just say that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm struggling to understand him. And then I've got the person in my ear, director, producer, I don't even know the difference. So I'm just like trying to listen.
Yeah.
And I just absolutely fluked it. But now I'm a little bit better at it.
Yeah.
Now, so. But yeah, it's very too like, it's scripted as
Yeah,
as they come, isn't it?
Again, like, I think that's also probably something that people don't really give, like, even like presenters or hosts credit for as well. Is that it is quite hard. Like,
Yeah.
It depends what shoot as well. Stuff like this, I can host this because this is so easy for me because it's just having a nice chat.
Yeah.
Whereas live delivering lines in ear, fucking hard.
Yeah.
But did you enjoy it?
I loved it. And like the stuff I do with West Ham now, we shoot a lot of it as live.
Yeah.
So there's not really any pickups to do. You can't really retake it. You can. I'm lucky it's not live.
Yeah.
But I feel confident that I could now do live stuff. But I've got such a sort of like, not that I didn't have respect for him anyway, but like a newfound respect for your Laura Woodses of the world and Adam Smiths and stuff
Honestly,
like, yeah. It's
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they just make it seem so natural. Before I was ever in the industry, I'd be like, yeah, I want to be presenters. Easy. You just go in, hi, welcome back to This Morning or something.
Because also it's I think it's the art of conversation. I think people feel like they can just do because I think if you're personable and you can hold a conversation and you're like, it's usually the funny one in a group of mates. It's like, oh, I can do it.
Yeah.
You probably can with the whole conversation bit, but the slightly more stricter delivering lines and beats and everything.
Yeah.
That is really hard. So that's the thing I feel like I had to learn. The actual holding the conversation bit is completely sweet. But then when it comes to, you've got 10, 15 minutes, you need to hit these 3 lines at these different points.
Yeah.
And if there's an in-ear, for example, it's so difficult.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing I think people don't realise it's that hard.
No, and I have so much respect for people that do it now.
Yeah. Laura Woods, G.
Yeah.
She is
hero.
so sick.
Hero.
And she, again, like the research as well that she does.
I bet.
Insane.
Yeah.
And
And her coverage of the darts. I love the darts, yeah.
Also, I love that she just, obviously it's the best way of doing it, just embracing the fact that everyone wants to marry her.
I know, and
Marry me, Laura Woods.
yeah, how awkward, man. Like she's doing her job, and she's got 100, how many, like 3,000, I don't know what Ali Pally is.
3,000 married geezers behind her going,
chanting that name. It's like trying to present at like a football ground in the middle of it. Like you couldn't do it. I tried to do it once at London Stadium. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
It was awful.
I mean, okay, so would you want to do, obviously, your podcast is still your thing and you're enjoying it, it's going so well, but do you have any plans, or would you like to venture a little bit more into presenting or hosting? Or
I think I'm doing just enough.
Okay.
Like I'm happy to.
You're happy with the balance of things
where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still can't believe that I get to live this life. Like I remember growing up, and on my 16th birthday, my dad got me my first ticket to go and watch West Ham. And I opened the card, and it was West Ham v Bolton in an FA Cup 5th round replay under the lights on a Monday night. And Bolton were our bogey team as well. But I cried, and I was like, oh, it's like the best feeling in the world. And then fast forward 12 years, I'm sat there filming, and Mark Noble's to my left feeding me a pig in blanket for a Christmas special. And like, I know I should be professional and be like, this is what I do, but I'm just looking at him, and I'm not just looking at someone I'm interviewing, I'm looking at Mark Noble, and I'm thinking, I'm very in the moment in that.
The West Ham legend.
Yeah, I'm like I kind of know Declan Rice.
Yeah.
And it's like, how? Like, I'm still this 16-year-old, 14-year-old kid at Upton Park.
Yeah.
Like, they're my idols, they're my heroes.
Yeah.
And I get to sit in the office and present a show with Carlton Cole and James Collins and
Yeah.
Spudham when they come in. What is going on here?
Surely you believe that now, though. Like you're is maybe a bit more normal because you've done it enough, no?
I think when it comes to football, like football are my rock stars. Like football are
Something a
my
bit sacred almost.
Yeah, I think like for example, like Liam Paynes of the world, Johnny Knoxville's and that, when they come on my podcast, that you have to, in that environment, have an element of like, we're on a level playing field here, and
Yeah.
like
and you are.
Yeah, of
Because
course, we're all just
you're
fucking
on my show.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? You sort of that whole you've met enough celebrities to know that they're just people.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And I think I've lost that kind of starstruck element, but I haven't when it comes to footballers.
Okay.
And I don't think I ever will, just because it's all I've ever known. Like,
I'm almost the opposite.
Are
now,
you?
Because I've met so many.
yeah.
There are still certain footballers that doesn't matter how many times I meet Thierry Henry, I'm still going to poo my pants.
Yeah.
Because it's Thierry Henry.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
There's still a few more footballers that I think I will struggle to maintain my.
Who's the one?
calm.
Who's one that you'd be like?
I've met him though. It's Arsene Wenger.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which is probably a bit underwhelming for a lot of people,
Yeah,
but for
you're an
me,
Arsenal
he's my
fan,
dad.
Yeah.
So no, but also Messi, that was scary.
Yeah, wow.
That mate Ronaldinho,
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
probably So I've done everyone else. Dan.
God, mate.
I know, I'm just saying, innit?
Nah,
I've done it, so it's all right.
Yeah.
But that is why, obviously, I'm so lucky that I've been able to do any of them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's almost why that I don't get nervous with footballers. But then
It's your bread and butter, yeah.
Ricky Gervais, I'll be like, you honestly don't know how much I love you.
Right, yeah.
And I would become a little kid.
Yeah, we're probably in the same boat then, just slightly different
reversed,
fields. Yeah. But when I first met Ricky and did that interview, mate.
How was that?
Oh my God, my heart was beating out of my chest. Because it followed me on Twitter like for a few years before.
Again, head loss.
Yeah. I literally went to the pub and got pissed purely as a celebration because Ricky Gervais followed me on Twitter. Literally, I called my cousin up, I went, Reese, we're going to the Delaney's. Few Guinness. And we did.
Ask me why. Ask me why.
Yeah.
He pressed one button on Twitter and it was me.
Just showed him the notification. Look at that.
Look at my new tattoo I've just got. It's the screenshot of...
I wouldn't put it past me, I've got some shit tattoos. But
then just didn't know what was it.
he was following for a while and I was like, I'm not going to DM him, play it cool.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later, he brought out David Brent Live on the Road. And I was like, I wonder if I can get on that press junket.
Amazing.
And DM'd him and he said, ask my manager. Asked his manager and they were like, no, it's full, you can't. I was like, this really felt like my moment. This felt like my chance. So I was like, I said to my dad, I went, what do I do? He went, well, just go back to Ricky and say,
he said you can't.
what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, and then I went, but I could get...
What's going on?
Yeah,
he could unfollow me.
Yeah, I was like, I can't just do that. It's fucking...
It's Ricky
Screw the
Gervais.
tattoo off, yeah. But
It's
I did.
not coming off.
I went back to him and was like, yeah, they said it's full. And he said, who said that? I was like, oh, someone get me one in trouble here. And I was like, this person at this time.
It's a screenshot.
So I said that, and he was like, oh, okay, turns out the press junket is full. He said, come at 5 p.m. when we finish, bring your own crew and you can have a side room. So we turned up and literally...
I'm guessing you got more time then as
everyone
well.
had 5, you know what they're like everyone gets 5 minutes. He walked in, I went, how long have you got? He went, how long is it going to take? I went, 25 minutes? He went, yeah, it's fine. But I tell you what, the cameras went on and I'm shitting myself.
Is that the most nervous you've been, right?
Yeah, and I couldn't hide it either. And I was like, hi guys, I'm here, Ricky Gervais. And I used to always do this thing where I pull my guests in for a little hug, try and break the ice. And I swear to God, I pulled it and he didn't move. And I literally went, Ricky Gervais, and sat there. I thought, this is good.
I'm going to watch that back.
Oh, God, I think I cut it out.
Oh,
I
really?
think I cut it because obviously I got the footage, luckily, because we got to do it separately. But after about 5 minutes, something went in my head and went, you're fucking this opportunity up.
Let's
just do it now. And I started to make some jokes and like obvious,
relax into it.
Almost. Yeah. Like I was even taking like the lowest hanging fruit and just using that. So like he said, for example, like, oh, I hate when people ask small talk, like, what kind of dog you got? So then I did the obvious joke. What's my next one?
Yeah,
like, throw the card
exactly,
like that. But he really got on board with it, and he really liked it. And at the end, I left. I cried when he left the room as well.
That's amazing.
Because my mate Tom Norris, who I did my first podcast with, who I sort of grew up with, sort of thing. He was behind the camera. He was a production crew. So when he left, I just looked at him. I was just like, I've just interviewed my hero.
Yeah.
Like tears in my eyes.
So good.
And then I DM'd Ricky the day after and was like, thank you so much for that. Meant a lot. And he said, we'll do another one day, smiley face. And then he come back about a year later and went, should we do that other one? He's just been solid. I get a lot of shit online for always name dropping him, but he's my fucking hero,
and also,
mate. Like,
it's sort of typical. You would expect that as well. Like hearing that from him and saying, "Yeah, we'll do another one someday." It's like, yeah, you can just tell that's the way he is.
He would never say anything and not follow through on it.
Yeah.
Like I just knew one day that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So has he been your like favourite guest? I guess.
I would like to have him on again now, because where I'm at now compared to 2 years ago when he came on.
The format you have.
Yeah, we've got it
everything.
down now.
Yeah.
Like, so I'd like to do it again, and I think it'd be a lot more funny and laid back. I think my favourite guest, I always go for Ben Foster.
Great.
He's just an absolute legend.
Lovely guy.
Like, have you got time for a quick few stories about Ben that I haven't told before, right? So I told, a lot of people ask me on a night out, who's your favourite?
Yeah, who's your favourite guest?
Yeah, and I always say Ben. There's 2 stories about Ben that I would just want to share. I don't think he'll mind me saying because they make him look good. But I did a video with my friend Alfie where we went around all the different cities in the UK and hid a golden ticket. And I was meant to meet up with Ben, and he lives in Leamington Spa, so I was meant to meet up with him. But that day I lost my wallet in Birmingham. And I travelled all the way back, so we were behind schedule, and I text Ben and was going to say, I can't really come. So I went, mate, I can't come. I've lost my wallet in Birmingham, meaning I don't have time.
Yeah.
He thought I meant that I had no money, and he went, what's your PayPal, mate? How much do you need? And I was like, no, I don't.
10 grand, actually. Isn't it?
That's mad.
Yeah, I'm like Googling his contract, 35,000.
1 week's wages would be perfect.
Yeah, so he did that, and I thought, what a lovely bloke. And then another one was, Brand invited me down to the Euros. I said, can I bring a mate? They said, yeah, but can they have a social presence? Can they have like a million? Yeah. So I went to Ben and it'd just been on the week before. So I thought, that seems like a natural one. We get on, I went, Ben, are you going to the Euros next week? And he said, no, I wasn't planning to, mate, but how many tickets do you need?
Oh, he actually is the nicest guy.
No. And I was like, well, I was actually going to offer you a ticket. And then he said, no, I'm not. I'm going weekend away for a dirty weekend with the missus. And he actually put he's a hero.
What a legend. He's literally, as if we could have any sort of better impression of him. Now. He's just such a normal guy.
Yeah, he is. You should get him on here. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah,
I did one shoot with him. I hosted, actually, when we hosted the Pepsi thing. I say we, when I hosted the Pepsi thing. And you took some photos. He was there as well. And he, again, like chilling in the trailer before, he was so nice.
Yeah, hero.
Such a good bloke.
Absolute
hero.
hero.
So you always say him then for your best guest.
Or Asim Chowdhury. Shabuddy G.
Again, nice guy.
It's just a delight.
Obviously, I'm going to ask about guests because, again, thinking about the thumbnail and the title, so learned that from you.
Yeah. Well, you just learned it now. You've got this far.
Yeah, exactly. This is actually my Hail Mary video. This is like my last chance.
Well, lucky for you, I'm about to bring out an advent calendar.
It's all linked. So, have there been any guests that you've had that you've regretted having on? That you, or maybe that didn't go quite to plan and you were like, we could have just not done that.
Right, so for someone who does a podcast, what he's doing now is he's saying, can you tell me somebody who's an absolute prick? But I'm not sure if he's going to answer it. I'll answer it.
I don't want to dig anyone out.
Yeah,
obviously.
of course, yeah. I could. Yeah, there's one person that I always say. Every YouTuber, even the ones that I'd slagged off before, sound. They're just normal people, really. But there was this one guy who rocked up late, and people are late, that's fine. But he turned up with a tray of food, and he's already half an hour late. He's got a tray of food, and he sits down, and Stevie and I just sat there like, okay, we'll probably start in a minute. And then he went, so when are we starting? I was like, you're eating a fucking tray of food, mate. And then one thing he did, which people were like, his agency or whatever, they were like, this guy had been cancelled, right, quite publicly. And they were like, can you address it in a way in which, like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, try and ease on a resurgence sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I said to him, like, I went, look, you've been cancelled for certain things, and before I went, don't worry about it, mate. My take is that cancel culture's a load of shit. We've all been cancelled for stuff. I've been cancelled for stuff in the past. I've got old tweets that are ridiculous, right? And I always tell that same story. And he said, what's your old tweets? And I said, so I just told him, because I own that shit now, like. And then if you Google it, you find him. And he went, sorry, what? He went, that's mental. What are you doing? And I sat there thinking, the only reason I'm fucking talking about this is because you've been cancelled. And then it was just, so it was a bit like, I didn't get what the fucking vibe was there.
See, that's weird. See, I think it's just, that comes from just lack of awareness of the whole situation. I'm doing that to make you feel better about being cancelled, mate.
I've already been cancelled, mate. I don't want it to happen again.
Let's remind everyone.
And then he kind of like, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure I got him on the bad day. But he's the only guest that has ever flat out refused to answer a question.
Oh, really?
And one of the only guests that had pre-seen the questions. So it's kind of like you're just refusing it to look good. But I do the edit, mate. So it's like I don't. So that was the only thing. Yeah, I've probably. It's like, so why did you accept it before and then call me out on the question? So it's just a bit weird.
But on the whole, absolutely sweet. Every single guest.
99.9% of people are absolute. Like they just get it. Like
amazing.
It's fine. You get the odd one that's just kind of don't really know why they're there.
Yeah.
But normally...
Almost as well, I guess, maybe not as interesting or fun as you were maybe expecting, or maybe not as... Maybe they also didn't know what they were getting themselves in for anyway. They don't really know how to read it. As we were saying at the beginning, like how relaxed they can be with strangers and...
Yeah, I saw somebody tweet you when you announced I was coming on, and they were like, who's one guest that he wished he could refilm with? And I've got the perfect answer for that because, like you said, somebody who's not as relaxed. This is my fault, not theirs. But Mini Minter, Simon.
Okay,
so,
Simon, yeah.
Yeah, because I really like him, and when I've met him at like social
nice
events,
guy.
he's sound, absolutely sound. But when he came on my podcast, I think it was like 2 years ago, it was right when I was on the tail end of like probably slagging off his mates.
He thought he was going to get grilled.
Yeah. So whenever I just asked like a slightly, like not even out there question, he'd sit on the fence. And it was quite a boring episode.
Yeah.
But that's nothing on him. That's because of his perception on me.
Yeah.
And then when I've seen him since then, like he's really funny and I get on with him. So I'd like to redo that one.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you would like want to get? I'm guessing, have you got like a hit list of people that you want on as well?
Yeah. So
Heroes.
Burnham for me.
Bo Burnham's great. I remember, actually, I watched it because you tweeted about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you
In
watch
lockdown.
Inside?
Oh,
yeah.
it's so good.
Yeah.
So funny.
I just love him. I love his whole back catalogue. I've grew up with him. I remember like first YouTube, like Kassam G days.
Yeah.
That's when Bo Burnham was doing shit on his little keyboard in his room, and he was the first YouTuber I really saw transition to stand-up comedy, and now he does his Netflix stuff. But I'd be too worried because he's so smart. I
mean, he's just like mad talented as well. How can you make really like hilarious satirical songs that sound good?
Yeah.
It's an art to it. It's so good.
Yeah, and his message in them as well, and he promotes this like kind of like selling your soul for, and that's pretty much what I did when I was slagging off these YouTubers. So I watched that in May of 2021 and didn't upload again on my channel because I just thought like I'm doing everything that he would fucking detest, and I love that man. So it's like. Yeah.
Oh, so he would be your kind of number one.
Number one, yeah, I reckon. Or someone cool like Caleb Followell from Kings of Leon.
Okay.
Someone like that who's going to have loads of stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember him in an interview once. Somebody said how many women have you slept with, and he said 4. And then the interviewer was like, oh, okay, that's really. And he went, oh, sorry, did you mean in one night or? And I was just like, I need you on my podcast. And then the interviewer went, and have you ever done a cocaine off of a small person's head? And then he went, who fucking told you about that? And I was like, I'd love him on the pod. Yeah.
I mean, you just had Danny D on.
Yep.
That was great. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, he was good, wasn't he?
Again, this is what I love as well, which is your podcast is so good at as well. We always have these perceptions of people, celebrities, and what they do, and just think that that's how they are. Mm-hmm. But that's what I mean, Danny D, he came out with so many...
Like, and how funny he was.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't assume that he's that funny.
He's
like,
great.
Deborah Meaden, like, she's fucking funny. Like, you just wouldn't... Yeah. I guess that's why I love this world so much, because when you see... I used to be the guy in my bedroom thinking everyone was a twat.
Yeah.
Then you meet them and you realise, actually, they're okay.
There's a lot more to them than meets the eye.
Yeah.
You talk a little bit about... stand-up comedy. Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, so you're not a stand-up comedian, but you have done it.
Yeah.
Which in my eyes kind of makes you almost a stand-up comedian.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
And also you're a big fan of stand-up comedy as
yeah.
well. Which is, how was that as an experience? You just absolutely... Was it the most... I couldn't think of anything worse, to be fair.
It was... I was so nervous, and I only did like 7 minutes because I was opening up for Max Fosh, who is an actual comic. It was kind of a bit embarrassing because it was my life's goal to do it, and I just did 7 minutes, and Max Fosh did this whole hour. Like, it's a beautiful production. Like, he then came on my podcast after and said, "Oh, I'm not a stand-up." He was like, "I'm not a stand-up because I had like a PowerPoint, or I lent on this, I lent on that." And I was thinking, mate, I just did 5 minutes and I've been telling everyone that I'm fucking Ricky Gervais reincarnate. But I just did 7 minutes before, opened up for him, and then we did 2 shows in one night, and then I did that same 7 again. But it was the best feeling ever. Like, it was like, I've never done heroin, but I imagine it's like doing smack for the first time.
Just a rush coming through you.
Yeah, again, I'm quite an emotional guy. Like, I came off stage the first time, looked at Fee, and we both had tears in our eyes because I couldn't believe... I don't mind saying this. Like, I couldn't believe how good I felt I was.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I was going to pass out. I was in the dressing room backstage, and I was looking in the mirror, and I was shaking. I was panicking. I thought I was on the verge of a panic. I probably was.
Yeah.
And I kept saying to Fee, I went, can't do it, can't do it. And she had to get me to stand up and say, you're just going to do it. And then I
You go, chill out, take a bit of this. That's fine.
Yeah, I was backstage and there was another, because I was the compere, so Max had to go, welcome to the stage, Jackmate.
Oh,
and
no.
it was only in that moment where the nerves just went and went.
Really?
Yeah, and I just went out there.
Wow.
And when I'd done a bit of stand-up years ago, and I did one show, I rushed it because I wanted to get away from there.
Yeah.
Whereas there, I was waiting for the beats, waiting for the laughter. It was everything I'd learned and every bit of advice that the comedians have been telling me on my show came to me in that moment, and I was able to apply that on the thing, and it was just the best fucking feeling in the world.
Good. Was that the biggest rush you've had in terms of work?
Yeah, probably since the Ricky Gervais thing, it'd be that. And I've got to say a shout out to some guy who was in the front row it was a Max Foss show. I'm just there as the compere, like it's Max's show. But I came out and front row, he was wearing my merch from like 5 years ago. And I thought, I'm going to have one person on side tonight. Yeah. So sometimes I'd tell a joke, the punchline, I'm looking at him. Because I'm like, I know you're going to laugh. Yeah. So yeah, that really helps.
That is amazing.
I'll do it again one day.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that, you got a little bit of a taste for it now?
I know I can do it.
Okay.
I know I can do it now.
Okay, so do you think that's the hardest thing you've done? But actually no, because you said you came on and you were totally calm and you feel like you nailed it. Not to say that it's not hard, you might have just done it, obviously you did it really well.
I imagine doing a show will be hard, but the build-up was the worst feeling ever.
Yeah.
Again, to go back to that trip I was telling you about with Cal Freezy and Chip, that was the 2 weeks before, where it was like, I was due to get back to England, do the show, and I couldn't sleep, and it completely messed my sleeping pattern up, because I started, no one believes this, on Twitter everyone put tags didn't happen of the year award. You know, when they I promise,
which is great, by the way. I love it.
It's good because like normally there are times where I'll tweet shit that don't happen for a laugh.
Yeah.
I promise you, I would wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning having had a nightmare or a dream about a joke that I should put, and I'd wake up on my notes and I'd write it down. And Fee would wake up and see me just writing down these jokes, and then I'd go back to sleep. So it was consuming every minute.
Did any of those make the final?
No, they were shit.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Weird, because in my dream it went down like...
yeah. I think that's a phenomenon or something they say. Or like, I've heard Gervais talk about it before, where comics, they dream jokes and the joke's always really funny. You wake up and you think it's the best joke ever.
Yes, he has said that. I remember, I
think he said it on his podcast with that doctor. Something they don't know why, but in your dreams you're the funniest person ever.
Sick.
And in reality, you just talk about meal deals.
Oh, okay. So if you don't know, you've obviously seen Jackmate's Happy Hour. They open up with the question: you get £5, walk into a corner shop. What do you get? Yeah. Has someone actually asked you that? Before I do ask you, if someone's asked you before, I'm not going to ask.
No, they haven't asked me the £5 one.
Right. Perfect. Yeah. Another thumbnail. So. The roles have reversed. Yeah. If you have £5, you go into a corner shop. Yeah. You can't get a vanilla latte. What are you getting?
Okay, I'm getting a bottle of Lilt.
Okay, good drink.
I think Lilt's so underrated.
It is.
It's unreal.
It is.
Love Lilt. I'm probably going to get, I would usually say football cards, but I think the shops, they just do the stickers.
Yeah, and
so
also they bump the price as well.
Yeah, but I'll still get them. I'll go for 2 packs of them. Should be 99p there or thereabouts. And then I'm left with £2. I'm going to go for peanut butter Kit Kat.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. And then maybe a bag of Red Hot Monster Munch. See you later.
Red Hot Monster Munch are elite.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're doing any sort of like brand sponsorships at the moment.
Oh, mate.
If they are.
I'll lock horns with you over a brand deal on them, because they are...
What about...
they are the best.
What about pickled onion... what's it called? Space Invaders? Space Invaders? Space Raiders?
Space Raiders always go beef.
Beef? I was never a fan of them.
Don't sleep on beef.
What about Monster Munch? You just the red hot ones?
Yeah, I can do beef on them as well. Okay. Pickled onion, I'm not too, take them or leave them.
Okay, nice.
But football stickers are the ones.
Okay.
I bought a packet of football stickers the other day. Just one. First time I bought one in a year. I got a shiny Kurt Zuma.
Wait, was this pre or post?
The other week, like literally last week, yeah. So I thought, I'm not going to bother collecting these.
This is either really valuable now or worthless.
Yeah.
So you go.
Well, this is the thing. Like me and my cousin, we're in the like the more kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the high-end football cards, right? So we buy them from America, and we do box breaks and stuff. Yeah. And you know, like how Logan Paul does with the Pokemon.
Yeah.
We do, and my cousin has just spent the last year, because you're meant to invest in like up and coming players, your Fodens and that.
Yeah.
he spent the last year investing in a certain footballer that, let's just say the card I think he's put like 10 grand into these cards.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, mate, yeah. And then he sent me the news one, and I know there's bigger issues here. There's bigger issues than my mate losing 10 grand on cards. But still, it's like a little bit unfortunate.
Feel bad for him there.
Yeah.
Right, we've got literally 2 minutes left. Right, okay, really quickly.
Yeah.
Because you have been cancelled, right?
Yep.
Technically.
Yeah.
But again, as we were saying before,
Yeah.
you can't, cancel culture is such a weird thing. It's not like there are so many people that can't be cancelled.
If you've not done anything illegal, and you've just done things that are just a bit frowned upon, you've not actually hurt anyone.
Yeah.
When I talk about cancel culture, I talk about jokes or things
like
people
offence.
have said, or offence caused.
Yeah.
As long as you haven't actually gone out and physically hurt anyone or emotionally hurt anyone, then I don't think you can get cancelled for things you say.
Yeah.
Like you just can't. Like you can let people cancel you. You can let people silence you. But like I touched on, my old tweets I'm not too happy about. Yeah. But I just fucking own it now. I'm not that same person.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's a timestamp from 10 years ago. So
if you want to cancel me for something I put 11, 12 years ago, you can do it. But I'm going to carry on just being me and carry on with work.
And with that, perfect. Thank you so much, Jack, for coming on the show.
Pleasure.
My G.
I love it. Keep
I
doing
really
it,
do
mate.
appreciate it. I mean, if you want to quickly shout out anything, Jack
Don't
makes
worry
happy
about
hour.
it. I won't bother.
Yeah, he doesn't need it with the Spotify viewership. Doesn't really matter.
Is
You're
that how
golden
that came
anyway.
across? Oh no! Oh, don't worry about it. You can't help me, peasant.
It's true. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed. Honestly, that was one of my favourite conversations I've had so far. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out Jack. He's an absolute legend. Jackmate, appreciate it.
Thank you,
and
mate.
we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Offer a vanilla latte.
Oh, it's late now.